Hey, what's up guys? Spencer Rhodes here. So Dante is a character who has been in both The Walking Dead show and The Walking Dead comics. Now The Walking Dead comics is what The Walking Dead show was originally based on. Now there's things that happen in the comics that don't happen in the show. There's characters that exist in the comics that don't exist in the show. Like for example, Daryl doesn't exist in the comics, but he was just a TV show only character. And a lot of things from the Walking Dead comics get adapted from the show, but sometimes they don't. But Dante is one of those characters that was both in the comics and the show, but his character was drastically different. In the comics, he's just this sort of soldier type character, and he's actually introduced right after the end of All Out War. Like the TV show, there's All Out War, and then there's a few years of a time jump. And after that time jump, we see Dante. So if they had followed the comics, Dante would have been in like season 9. But in the comics, he's basically in the story right after All Out War, right after the time jump, and he's a soldier. He's not a medic or a doctor or anything. In the show, he's like a doctor. In the comics, he's just like a soldier, and he is the one that gets captured by Alpha and the Whisperers. He is the one who is basically Alpha's introduction. In the show, it's Luke and Alden who get captured by Alpha, and that serves as Alpha's introduction. But in the comics, Alpha captures Dante, and he survives that. He ends up getting released. And throughout the rest of the comics, he doesn't really get too much of a big part in the story. He's just sort of this comical character who makes a lot of jokes. And he's trying to get with Maggie in a lot of issues. He flirts with Maggie, he tries to impress Maggie, but Maggie doesn't really want to be with him because she doesn't want to move on from Glenn's death. But eventually Maggie gets with Dante, and they sleep together a lot, and they're a couple, and that's pretty much it for Dante. Dante doesn't really have a big part in the comics. And at the end of the comics, there's this 20-30 year time jump, and we see Maggie, we see Herschel Jr., but there's no mention of Dante. Dante isn't in the ending. Herschel Jr. acts like he never had a father, so that kind of implies that Dante never really spent time with him, or that Dante wasn't with Maggie very long. Maybe Dante died, maybe they broke up. He's really just not that important in the comics. Like I said, he makes a few jokes, he hooks up with Maggie, and then he disappears at the ending. That's basically Dante's character in the comics. And a lot of fans were anticipating this character. A lot of fans were wanting to see this character in Season 9. And then a lot of fans got excited when he was confirmed for Season 10. But in the show, he's a lot different. He does actually have that funny sense of humor. And he does look like the guy from the comics. As far as his appearance goes, he looks like him. And his sarcastic sense of humor and his jokes that are awkward, yeah, he's got that too, but that's pretty much the end of the comparisons as far as what they have in common, because everything else is drastically different. He's a doctor, which he's not a doctor in the comics, and then there's that sort of big difference, that the part where he's actually a whisperer and he's a villain and everything. Yep, that's not in the comics. He's actually a good guy in the comics. But in the show, it turns out that he is a whisperer. He's a spy for Alpha. And Sadiq finds out, and he kills Sadiq. And then he gets captured. And then he gets killed by Gabriel, because Gabriel doesn't want to keep him as a prisoner. And that's basically it for Dante. He lasts 8 episodes, the whole first half of Season 10. That's how long he lasts. And then he gets killed by Gabriel when he's locked up as a prisoner. And a lot of fans were disappointed. A lot of fans were upset that Dante turned out to be a villain, and then he didn't last very long, and it just sort of seemed like a lame plot twist, and he should have been more like the comics. Some fans wanted him to hook up with Maggie, especially with the announcement that Maggie is returning in Season 11, possibly Season 10. A lot of fans were holding out hope that they would get to see that Maggie-Dante romance, and it never happened because he was a whisperer and then he died. Now, me personally, I'm okay with it. I'm really okay with it. Now, some people think that it's sort of a lame surprise. It's a lame plot twist because they specifically chose a comic character that's not a Whisperer, to have them be this surprise, it's a spy, it's a plot twist. Some fans felt like, yes, they didn't see it coming, but they also felt like they were cheated because, you want to surprise the audience with a surprise villain, but then you use a character from the comics that's not a villain. That almost seems like a cheat. That almost seems like just like you're tricking those comic Dante fans. But the thing is, I just don't see what the big deal is. Dante is not a big character in the comics. Is there something I'm missing? Like, am I missing something? What is it about Dante in the comics that makes him such a big deal? Like I said, I just explained why he's not a big deal in the comics. He gets captured by Alpha. Okay, I'll give him that. He gets that big moment where Alpha is introduced. He makes jokes. Cool, he sleeps with Maggie. That goes nowhere. He's just like in the background, and then he's so unimportant that he doesn't even get a proper ending. He just disappears after the time jump, and there's no mention of him. There's all these big comic Dante fans that are like, oh, why did you turn him into a bad guy? You never gave us comic Dante. If you're such a big comic Dante fan, like if me personally, if I was such a big comic Dante fan, I would be mad at Robert Kirkman for how they treated him in the ending of the comics. I wouldn't be mad about the TV show. I'd be more mad about his ending in the comics. He just disappears. Maggie's like this 60-year-old president, and she doesn't mention Dante. She's not with Dante. Herschel Jr. doesn't mention Dante. And altogether, for one thing, the comics kind of had it seemed like the comics kind of had a rushed ending. I felt like there was a solid 10, at least 10, 20 more issues before it should really properly have that ending. It just kind of happened out of nowhere, and it seemed like it was unfinished. And Dante just disappearing out of nowhere, that really didn't help, It just seemed like they just... what was the whole point of his character? So that Maggie would have someone to sleep with? Like, he wasn't even that important. So, no, the fact that they chose him to be a surprise Whisperer spy, really, that didn't bother me at all. I actually liked what they did with Dante in Season 10. I liked the plot twist. I liked that I liked that he turned out to be a Whisperer. I liked Gabriel killing him. Gabriel killing him was probably one of, if not my favorite scenes in the first half of Season 10. And it's not because of Dante dying, it's just because of Gabriel. I'm a big Seth Gilliam fan. That's the actor that plays Gabriel. And he just goes absolutely crazy and just loses his mind and kills Dante and stabs him 50 times. And I thought that was a really cool scene. Now, going into Episode 8, I was sort of hoping, because at the end of Episode 7, that's when Dante has to kill Sadiq, because Sadiq finds out his secret, so Dante has to kill him. After Episode 7, I was hoping we'd get like a whole back half season where Dante continues to successfully be a spy, and he continues to develop, and he continues to do messed up things. Maybe at the end of Season 10, or the beginning of Season 11, he gets discovered, and then he gets killed. And I really didn't want him to get like found out and discovered and then killed right after the plot twist that he is a spy in the first place. But seeing how they handled it, and then what it does for Gabriel's character, what it does for Gabriel's character development when he's like, nope, I'm not doing another prisoner like Negan. I'm just gonna kill you. You killed my girl's baby's biological father. I'm pissed off about that. I'm just gonna kill you. I like that. I loved it as a moment for Gabriel. I really liked it just in general. And for me, it works. For me, just what they do with Dante in the 8 episodes, the half season where he lasts, I think it works. I really think it works. And, as far as the romance from the comics, I mean, it was just such a minor thing. Like, it doesn't seem like she falls in love with Dante or anything. So it's really not a big deal that they did that with comic Dante. There's been a lot of people that are talking about how Maggie will actually end up with Alden, because, I mean, hey, she's coming back in Season 11, plus Alden's a single man now. He's grieving over Enid, Maggie's grieving over Glenn. Maybe there's something there. So overall, I'm okay with what they did with Dante in the show. I'm not against it. I'm okay with what his material, and I'm okay with the plot twist, and I'm okay with his death. Now, if it was like something like, you know, they take Negan and then Negan turns out to be this like super nice guy that doesn't have a bat and then he gets killed in one episode, see, that I would be pissed about. You know, if Michonne was just this someone that acted completely different from the comics and she got killed in one episode, I'd be mad about that. But when it comes to Dante, he wasn't that important anyway. He didn't do very much in the comics, so I'm okay with his death. I really am. Now, to those of you Dante comic fans, I hope I haven't offended you. I completely respect your opinion. I completely respect your opinion. All I ask is that you respect my opinion and you don't get mad and just, you know, lose your mind, because I don't think that Comic Dante was a big deal in the first place. But that's just me. Me personally, I'm okay with how he turned out in the show, and I'm okay with his death. But that's just my personal opinion. If you have a different opinion, hey, all power to you. You know, I respect other people's opinions. Anyway, that's all I have for this video. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And don't be shy. Hit that like and subscribe. I'm not going anywhere. I make 1 to 2 Walking Dead videos per day. So please hit that subscribe button. Right now I am at 695 subscribers. My goal is to try to get to 700 in the next couple of weeks. So just remember, every subscriber counts. Every bit of support matters and is very, very appreciated. Hopefully we can get to that goal of 700. Anyway, with all that said, I'm Spencer Rhodes, and I will see you guys later. Bye.